My name is Yasmin. I'm a 24-year-old British Muslim and I've been married to Sajid now for 2 years. We don't live in a particularly nice part of the city, but we've got lots of family there and it's a tight-knit community. We started trying for a baby and that's when things started to go wrong because Sajid lost his job and then he started using drugs. I found them in his pocket. And I don't know what they are. I don't really know anything about drugs, really. I tried to cover up for him for so long. It was really hard not being able to speak to anyone about it. And in the end, I had to tell a few family members because it was just really difficult. And now my parents are really ashamed of me. I suppose they blame me. It's really hard as well because he's pressuring me to get pregnant for us to have a baby, and I know that's down to him getting hassle off his family, which doesn't make it any easier because all his brothers have got children. So it's really hard, and I saw this leaflet. It was about help for family members, so I started to read it. It really upset me because it just seemed like it was written for me, really, and I just started to cry. And the nurse asked me what was wrong, but I told her. And that's when she said she'd arranged for me to speak to someone.
Hi Yasmin,
Hi.
it's good to see you again.
Yeah.
When we met last week, we talked quite a lot about how the situation with Sajid is affecting you and the difficulties that you were having. I know that was quite a difficult session for you.
Yeah.
And kind of at the end of that, we thought about what questions you had, because there's lots of confusion about what's going on and what you might want to know more about.
Yeah.
And I just wondered whether you'd had a chance to have a think about that.
Yeah, I did actually. One of the questions I'd like to ask is what drugs they could be that he's using, because I don't know much about them.
Okay. You mentioned that you found some stuff in his pocket.
Yeah.
What did you find?
Well, it was just a small bit of paper with some white powder in it.
Right.
And that's the only bit that I found.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you think that he's been using it and he's been out with his brothers, how does he behave when he comes home? What do you notice about him that's different?
Well, I spend a lot of time cooking and making lunch and dinner, and he just doesn't eat when he comes in. He used to,
Right.
and he just doesn't seem to eat at all. And he doesn't sleep very well. You know, it breaks my sleep as well. Yeah.
What about the next day? When he's been out with his brothers, he's come back, what's he like sort of the following day?
It's hard to say. He seems to have mood swings. He gets moody and lethargic. Then he seems tired, a lot of the day, and just won't do anything.
Right.
So he's just, I just don't know how to judge him, really.
So it sounds like what you're describing in terms of the white powder, the mood swings. I mean, it sounds like he's possibly using cocaine, or probably using cocaine, I would think.
Right.
Because cocaine has it's a stimulant. He's getting restless, he's getting irritable.
Yeah.
And when the drug is going out of the system, it has the opposite effect. So he becomes really lethargic and he doesn't want to do anything. So it's like a kind of a high and a low.
Right.
When we talked about this last time, was that sometimes you feel that he's getting irritable with you, and that things are going not as well in your relationship as they used to, and that was really hard to take.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering whether actually the irritability is more likely to be part of the drug use itself and the effect that the cocaine's having on his system, in terms of it's kind of stimulating his nervous system. And when it does that, people do tend to get more irritable, sometimes get a little bit more aggressive, more snappy.
Oh, I see.
And it could well be that because you think he's probably using more frequently now than he used to, that irritability might be more related to his drug use than it is to something to do with you in the relationship.
He promised me he'd stopped, and that just doesn't seem to be the case.
Right, so that was really disappointing for you when he started again, and you'd kind of hoped that he'd got through it.
Yeah.
I mean, most people who are using drugs do eventually manage to stop, and a lot of people have intentions to stop at lots of different periods of time. But actually it's quite common that people will, even though they really want to stop, sometimes, lapse into drug use and maybe go, have a few lapses before they do finally manage to stop completely.
Right.
This is a really common thing that happens, is that people stop for a while, and then maybe something happens in their lives and they start using again for a period of time, and then get things back together in their lives and then stop. So it's a bit of a pattern with most people that use. And perhaps something that we could talk about in the future would be some more support that both you and Sajid could have. Something else that really stood out from our last session was the sort of intense pressure that you feel about having a baby and starting a family. And how worrying that is for you in the current situation with money and Sajid's drug use.
It just doesn't seem the right time to be having a baby, especially because of everything that's happening now. I don't think now is the right time.
No, I was wondering whether you'd thought of talking about kind of contraception with somebody.
I haven't really spoken to anyone about it, so maybe, maybe I could speak to someone about contraception. I don't really.
How would you feel about doing that? It's sort of two minds about it. It seems.
I haven't really spoken to anyone about it before, so I would like to find out what's available, I suppose.
So again, that's something that we could sort of follow through with, and I can get you some information if you wish to.
If you could arrange or give me some advice on someone to see for contraception, I think that would really help.
Okay.